Hello everyone and welcome. Sit back, relax, make a cup of tea or whatever you like to drink and get ready for news stories from YellowCat. Send your own favorite stories in the comments below and maybe they'll be in our new video. So subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed yet and let's get started. Reddit. Share your coworkers' best firing. I have 3 very funny ones from the same toxic job I used to have, but these guys deserved it. I can't even begin to describe how stupid one of them was. Nobody loved him. While shopping at Walmart, one of our supervisors was on her computer. She left her account open, believing that no one would gain access, just like any other decent person. This moron then goes to her computer while no one else is there, buys a $25 gift card, and puts the name on it, gift insert name of the company owner. He was caught after 2 months, and seeing him go was so sweet. He was disappointed, and I wonder why. Frickin' thief. The other one was a little weird. I was promoted to the same position, but my life was made impossible by a simple incel who stalked me. It goes without saying that we got into shouting fights, that I didn't feel safe, and that every day was agony since he was threatening my partner. I therefore forced HR and the business owner to terminate him. That was the pinnacle of perfection. The last one was after I left. There was this guy that was a creep. He was disgusting. They wanted to get rid of my people because my brother was employed there after I left. This scary guy attempted to inject my brother with a bag of, baby powder. When he learned about it, he went straight to the supervising supervisor, alerted another supervisor, and the HR representative from another office stormed into the office. He knew, of course, it was all staged, but that was a long tale. That creep bolted out of the door right away and was never seen again. It was cute because he would constantly gaze at my female coworkers, making them uncomfortable, and he would also make fun of me when I was let go from that awful job. It was all sweet for me, and I still laugh at all of that to this very day. My lead was fired, and I work as an electrician. I would pick him and the vehicle up at his residence and drive to job sites because he had a DUI prior to my employment, which prevented him from operating the work truck. Since it was his 4th or 5th DUI, our firm's insurance refused to let him operate any corporate vehicles after he received his license back. The owner told him he could drive for a week, but to drive carefully because he wasn't insured while I was away on vacation. A few months later, when I realized we had a job only a half hour from my parents' house, I live over 2 hours away, I asked the office if I could drive my own truck there and if my coworker could drive the work van since he had driven it in the week I was gone. Once more, they suggested to proceed with caution. It was a long drive, so I assumed he got stuck in traffic when he wasn't there at 8. 9 o'clock rolls along, and I'm using borrowed tools because my own are in the work vehicle. At 9:30, I get a call saying he crashed the truck. He told me it was just a minor collision when we spoke. He'll probably be there once the cops show there and take care of things, I suppose. Then I receive a call from the office informing me that he had totally wrecked the truck and that it was probably totaled. I then made the offer to go collect our tools and him. My colleague informed me that upon arriving at the petrol station where the truck was hauled, he was just getting started when the light turned green. Then, as the car ahead of him applied the brakes, he rear-ended them, although slowly. When I saw the truck myself, I could tell he was lying. Airbags went off, the front was bashed in, and all of our equipment and supplies were thrown to the front. Although I can't be positive, I think he may have fallen asleep while driving the previous night after a typical, maybe 2 or 3 times a week night of drinking. My assumption is based on the fact that he passed asleep in my truck 5 minutes after getting inside, and for the remainder of the day, he slept for the most part. We just had a few tasks to complete, so the day was easy. However, I doubt that sleeping would be my first priority, especially while I was working if I destroyed a corporate truck. Upon my arrival on Monday, the proprietor drew me aside and informed me that they had let him go. They promised to make me the next lead after they had located a replacement vehicle and filled and organized it. As expected, they got me a ride in one a little over a month later, and I've driven it extremely cautiously ever since. This is very encouraging to hear. One day, when I arrived at work, I had the unmistakable impression that something was wrong. The reception area of a bustling workplace was surprisingly calm compared to the rest of the building. Since I didn't get to the workplace until 9 in the morning and didn't leave until 6, I wasn't even close to being the first one there. When I asked the receptionist, she told me to just check your email. And that's what I did. In addition to the usual things, there was also a lengthy rant from the individual in the adjacent cube. Since he started work at 6 and didn't finish until 2, his rant had been there for quite some time. We had a profit-sharing scheme, but after doing the calculations for the quarter, it was determined that neither the office personnel nor one of the business divisions were eligible for a bonus. It found out that the parent firm had been utilizing that business unit as a loss leader to market their other products, which meant that they were essentially giving our service away for free. Therefore, the algorithm for the fair distribution of profits reached an unacceptable number. During his rant, he held both of them responsible for his failure of a bonus. There was no impact to salaries, and there was no loss of employment, just his bonus. He talked trash about the employees who were responsible for bringing in money for the organization. This is referred to as a fly and teach, fly and fix, or fly and consult arrangement. Thematic term, flying. That is, absent from the house for a total of 3 weeks out of every month. The individual working in the many other company units paid attention to his outburst as well. It would be one thing if this had been an isolated occurrence or if he had only rant in the office, but he did it in an email that was sent to the entire firm. Additionally, he was not the easiest person to collaborate with. Instead of working, he would rather sit around and chat all day. It was done in a calm manner, but quite swiftly. When I talked to colleagues who worked at that company and mention his name, everybody rolls their eyes and remembers that day and that email. His name was also removed from the following corporate newsletter, and his email address was erased before the end of the day. After returning from their most recent trip, the most of the consultants didn't notice it until a few days or so later. However, regardless of where they were, each and every one of them received a phone call. What did the HOA do that made you hate it so much? Oh my god, it was a nightmare. We lived in one of 14 townhouses in a row. There was no rule that they be lived in by the owner, so someone who didn't live there, Bob, owned 6, and someone else, Steve, owned 2. Neither of them lived in their own apartment. The HOA was run by itself. The HOA hadn't raised dues in over 10 years, and costs were now higher than dues. Instead of raising fees, some residents offered that we stop trash collection and make it so that everyone takes turns taking trash to the dump. Our roof was more than 30 years old. Our insurance company wouldn't pay for any more damage, so we had to finally get a new one. Bob was a lawyer and a total jerk. Because the roof was old, there was sometimes water damage in his rooms. We were in charge of everything ourselves, so it was up to the 6 owners who lived there. He said he would sue us if we didn't answer fast enough. It was finally time for me to call him on his threats. I told him I wasn't interested in them and asked him to stop unless he had papers to hand us. Steve hadn't paid his bills in over 10 years. He always said he would send, but never did. No one was willing to pay for a lawyer. We didn't even know where he lived because all we had for him was a P.O. box in another state. We had to do a special evaluation for the new roof. Steve did not pay, of course. We all had to pay for his part, though. We finally got the other owners to sue Steve and raise his dues. He finally sold one of his units and paid the amount he owed. After we bought our townhouse, we learned that the head of the HOA probably lied about the income on the financial disclosure. We would not have bought it if we had known what a mess it was. We lived there for 2 years and then moved to a different state. There were other things that played a role, but this was a big one. I had to hire a lawyer about a week ago in order to battle my homeowners association, thus I'm actually in the process of moving. My dog was barking, according to my neighbor, yet I got cited for letting him outside alone. In addition to not doing this, we also didn't hear from any neighbors about complaints, so we figured the HOA was passing by, concluded my dogs were outside alone, and warned me. Probably won't happen again. I receive another citation for the identical offense in the second month. Strange, but coincidences do occur. Once more, I will overlook it. Month 3, I receive a second citation. Now I'm angry. We don't do this, and moreover, there's a 6-foot privacy fence around my yard, so how would they know whether I'm in my own backyard? In addition, my fence touches my neighbor's house because I don't have a corner lot, and the houses are situated on the property line. My gate is the only portion of my fence that is visible. So what? In an email, I inquire as to how the HOA determined that I wasn't in my backyard. They reply that the dogs are free to come and go as they like because I have a dog door. It's not that the dogs are, it's just that they might be. Furthermore, there aren't any regulations prohibiting the use of a dog door. To refute the accusations, I attend the meeting. They decide to inform me at the meeting that my dog's barking is the reason behind the neighbor's complaint. Although it's regrettable, I contend it doesn't matter because that isn't the reason I received the citation. I'll be more than glad to stop my dog from barking, but as of right now, you're gonna punish me for something I didn't do since I have a dog door that I'm entitled to have by law. I try to convey to them that this is something they are just not capable of doing. I was found guilty and fined $10 a day for every day that there was an issue. It totals somewhat less than $1,000. My junk falls out. A week or so later, one of the HOA's members tells me that all I need to do is submit an email requesting that the fine be waived, and it will most likely be. I thus do. The HOA is meeting, and they have not replied to my email. I've been informed that I essentially need to write a fake confession stating that I was leaving my dogs outside. Then I need to apologize and detail how I remedied it. No way, I understand what this is. The HOA is peeing me off because they know full well that what they did was wrong and that I won't just pay the fee. No way, I understand what this is. The HOA is peeing me off because they know full well that what they did was wrong and that I won't pay the fee. They want me to submit a bogus confession to clear their name. Not at all. I use all of my power to tell that woman, Miss Linda Riddle, to F off. I then visited a lawyer. It was $150 and he concurred. The issue is that fighting this could get costly if you truly want to. Since attorneys are paid by the hour, drafting an official document typically takes 1 hour. It would have taken only 4 or 5 hours of arguing at $150 or $200 per hour before it would have been less expensive to simply pay the unfair fine. Still, none of that was relevant. It turns out that I was only given 4 days' notice of my hearing when I was supposed to have received 14. In other words, the hearing was void and the decision made during the hearing, including the sanction, followed suit. All fines had to be dropped, and they were. However, I called a realtor the same day my lawyer delivered them the notice, stating the hearing was unlawful. My house will likely go up on sale on Monday, and I've informed the realtor that the one thing I won't give up on is a homeowners association. We can discuss things like covered porches and yards, but please don't even bother showing me a house if it has a homeowners association. The HOA I had previously was a nightmare. The members were mostly elderly people who had nothing better to do than attempt to exert their authority on the neighborhood. The following is a list of the infractions that I have accumulated. An excessive amount of noise during normally peaceful times. My neighbor loved to pretend she was getting fresh air by leaving her window open. Even though it's only 80 degrees at night, I have the air conditioning on full blast because during the summer, it may reach to be over 100 degrees where we reside. It bothered her because she could hear my air conditioner from her apartment even though she had the window open. Trash cans that were left out for an excessive amount of time after the trash had been collected. The garbage collectors arrived at 6 in the morning. I don't even get out of bed till 8 in the morning. The infraction had a timestamp that read 6:30 in the morning. The sidewalk is being blocked by cars. The driveways are quite long and comfortably accommodated up to 4 vehicles in each one. When our guests came over one day, one of their cars barely cleared my driveway, moving into the middle of the 4-foot wide sidewalk. In front of the house were unauthorized automobiles when the delivery truck carrying our new appliances appeared. A mountain of packages had been left in front of our entrance. When we initially moved into our new home, it was only natural that we would place a large number of orders with Amazon. The homeowners association anticipated that we would get the parcels right away. There's still more to cover, but in the end, we did not have to pay a dime. This is due to the fact that my closest buddy is a lawyer, and after reading all of the HOA laws, we determined that we had not broken any of them and threatened to sue the HOA. After 2 years, we uprooted our lives. After we relocated, our neighbor who remained told us that our tale had become popular, which resulted in the entire neighborhood fighting back against the HOA and overhauling the entire system. Thank you for subscribing, the likes, and comments. We're very happy to see you all in the comments too. Thanks for your support.